and welcome to On My Shelf. Today, I'm talking about a spectacular middle grade story about friendship, acceptance, and owning the power of your weaknesses. Hummingbird by Natalie Lloyd tells the story of Olive, a 12-year-old girl who has brittle bone disease. She has been homeschooled for most of her life, and she really wants to go to public school so she can meet her best friend, her forever best friend. While she's at public school, she hears a story, really a legend, about a hummingbird that grants wishes. And it's supposed to visit the town on the blue moon. So she thinks that if she finds this hummingbird, she can make all of her dreams come true and everything will turn out really well. And of course, disaster strikes, and she has to come to terms with what wishes are and what the proper thing is to wish. Natalie Lloyd also wrote A Snicker of Magic and The Key to Extraordinary, as well as a bunch of other books. And I'm certainly putting more of her books on my list now. I already said that Hummingbird was spectacular, but why? The first reason is the main character. Olive was just this bubbly personality. She was very positive. She wrote about joy kabooms, and she was just a sweet character to have in a book like this, especially one about owning the power of your weaknesses, because she definitely feels the weakness with her brittle bone disease, but she always remained hopeful and always wanted to find the best in people and the best in herself. And I love that about this book. The second reason this book was so spectacular is I feel like it rewrites the narrative around a person who might have brittle bone disease. And in it, Olive was really nervous about going to school, and her parents were very nervous about it as well because she could be hurt and she could fall and break something. But she believed that she was just as powerful as everyone else. She really wants to be an actress. And when the drama teacher kind of relegated her to the front of the stage, she wanted to prove that she belonged up on stage with everybody else. And I really love that, and showing that something that the world believes is a weakness can actually be a power. And the third reason I found this to be such a spectacular middle grade book is there was a sprinkling of magic, and it wasn't a whole lot. It wasn't like a full fantasy book, but there was this undercurrent about the legend of the hummingbird and a hummingbird that grants wishes, which is a magical thing. And I felt like it lent a little bit of wonder to the book and a little bit of mystery too, as the kids try to figure out where this hummingbird will be. Hummingbird had a lot of strong supporting characters. And I thought this was really good because it showed that each supporting character had their own reason for existing in the world and their own wants and needs. They all wanted to find the hummingbird. They all wanted to make some kind of wish. And there was a different reason for every one of them to want to find the hummingbird and have their wish granted. And it reminded me that the supporting characters have their own stories as well. And in order to develop them, we need to make sure we know what the supporting characters' wants and needs are. Number 2, wise sayings. I love this about the book. And part of it is that Olive internalized some of the things the adults in her life were saying to her. So she would quote things from her grandpa or her mom or her dad. And they were such wise things that she was still trying to put into her worldview. And I think that's so accurate for the way that kids grow up in the world. The voices of the people around them become their own voice. And it just reminded me that we don't have to be afraid to put those little nuggets of wisdom in there, because that's what kids are doing every day, is they're digesting those things and they're making it a part of their internal conversation. Number 3 is the magic. You're going to get tired of me talking about the magic, but I just really loved that it was so subtle and it was built around a legend. And it reminded me as a writer that we can find little places where we can infuse our stories with magic. And it doesn't have to be a legend, or it doesn't have to be a magical hummingbird that can grant wishes, but there is magic to the everyday situations. And embracing the magic in those everyday situations can help show a character's personality as well. I'm not saying just to sprinkle magic everywhere, But in this particular book, the magical element helped Olive learn what she needed to learn. So it made me think about the question, how can I use magic, even if it's everyday magic, to help my character through their arc and help them learn what they need to learn? So here are the takeaways from Hummingbird by Natalie Lloyd. The first is representation matters. And you may get tired of hearing me say this, but I'm not going to get tired of saying it. Kids deserve to see themselves in books, and especially in books that remind them of their power and their worth. And I feel like this was such a wonderful book to show differently abled kids that they can stand up for themselves, that they can be what they want to be, and they don't have to be any different from anybody else. Number two, magic belongs in stories and life. You see, I got to go back to the magic. But there is everyday magic. And, some may call it miracles, some may call it magic, but we can show that in our stories, and we can also work to find that in our own lives. Number three, use your wisdom. I think sometimes as writers for kids, we're afraid of being a little bit pedantic or being too teacherly. This is something that I feel like we can embrace because kids are always collecting the voices of the people around them, and they're always internalizing them or rejecting them. And we can use the mentor characters in our stories to impart wisdom that kids need to hear, like, you belong, you are loved, you matter. Hurt people sometimes hurt people. Kindness matters. Everyone's doing the best they can. I would love for the kids who read my books to learn something that it took me half a lifetime to learn. And that's it for today's On My Shelf. If you're interested in hearing an author's perspective on books, movies, and TV shows, subscribe to my channel. And thanks for watching.